episode of Chatty Broads with Becca and Jess.
Oh, broads. It's beginning to look a lot like the holidays. Chris Harrison is gone. He's infecting his son's campus with COVID everywhere. And now the men are into JoJo.
Yeah, why'd they get someone so hot to be the new host? Also, I was right. This was premeditated.
It was premeditated. Now,
you guys and Batch Clues did not agree with me.
I know. You're right. Now, the question is, though, was it only premeditated for maybe one episode?
Right.
Or was it, or then did they get called out and they're like, oh, we have to have JoJo now be covering for numerous episodes? Also, I just can't believe, I mean, there's no shade to Chris Harrison in this way, but that much of a family man that you're going to leave the bubble to take your son to college.
That's cute.
It's very sweet. It's very sweet. Now, do I believe that it was only to do that? Probably not. I have other theories. I feel like
him
maybe
and Lauren Zima went on vacation.
Yes, they had a hot meetup. He hadn't seen her in weeks and weeks. And then they went under the radar in Texas. They went to a couple bars in Austin together, got sloshed, and then made love at the local hotel.
Girl, you could be right.
I mean, I just feel like it was a big choice, even though he does love Joshua and he was on all the GOAT episodes. So obviously he's the apple of his eye.
Yes, and I believe he was along when we were filming Ari's season. His son would pop in here and there. Yeah, it's he does seem like he's pretty involved in his kid's life.
Is it just Joshua?
I don't remember. He has two kids, right? A daughter and a son?
What about the other child?
The daughter? I think she's older. I think she's doing her college
Left
thing.
in the dust.
I don't know. But they were around, so it seems like he tries to involve his kids a lot.
That's very nice.
So that's cool. Also, I had a dream that I met Chris Harrison, and he was and it was one of those dreams that felt very real. And then you woke up and literally my thought was oh my God, I can't wait to tell Jess I met Chris Harrison. And then it was oh, in a dream, that wasn't real. But he was really, really nice.
Okay.
And it just honestly shifted. He was just how are the kids? How's it going? I got to say, I didn't expect you to be the one, blah, blah, blah. And it was just
and you were
a very
really
real
thrown
conversation.
Off.
Yeah. And I was just wow, what a really nice guy.
So now,
So now I in my head, it's I think that he's a really nice guy because I had this interaction that felt so real, even though it wasn't.
You do know him to a certain degree.
That's true. I mean, I've had very minor, very brief interactions.
When you just said
with
you
him.
met Chris Harrison in your dream, I was didn't you go on the show?
Didn't you sit on camera with him for
was that not Chris Harrison? Blink out of the corner of your eye.
If it wasn't, but if it all feels not real. But it was I ran into him and I was oh, I can't wait to tell Jess that we had
now
a whole
you're
chat.
gonna be so
now
soft
on Chris.
on Chris Harrison, and everyone will be theorizing that now we're in with the producers and all that stuff. Nope, sorry, still can't get guests.
only in my dreams. So
Speaking of guests, so there is so much Bachelor drama that's going on. There has been tons of Bachelor tea that we haven't talked about over the past couple weeks in general. And now in the past few days, there has been so much Bachelor drama. So let me say this. We're not ignoring that right now. We're not going to talk about all of it because
we're going to talk about it.
We're going to get real into it. On Friday, we will be joined by Jenna and Danica of Date Card Pod, who have all the Bachelor tea always in great detail. And we're going to be diving into everything we haven't talked about, things we have talked about, getting their opinions and all this new stuff. So that's on Friday. Stay tuned. 2 Bachelor episodes this week, basically.
Oh, baby.
We're going deep in the start of December. We're
ready.
going in, bearing into the snow of Bachelor Nation.
I'm so excited because you have been telling me about all the tea, and
yes, I've been informing you.
It makes me nervous.
We are
in the best way.
We're sweating thinking about talking about this, and we're gonna get all the info from the Date Card Pod girls because they always bring all that info. But one bit of tea that we do have to discuss before we dive into the episode because it involves him is we briefly chatted about Brendan last week.
Yes, about about his Halloween stuff. Yeah.
Yes, with the purge photo, which the big thing was okay, the purge is a extremely violent movie about like getting rid of it's just horrifying. And he had the Keep America Great sign behind him. This was a Halloween costume if you missed it. And I slid into his DMs because people are like, you know,
oh yes.
I never heard back from him. I know that numerous Chatty Broads listeners contacted him. I think you're right about probably him being advised by producers to not say anything. Well, thankfully, the Broad Squad is very informative, and I got numerous messages about how apparently the final Purge movie is literally called like The Great Election, Keep America Great. And that was the whole theme of it. So his Halloween costume literally was like that.
They're literally just the Purge characters.
They're the Purge characters with the theme behind them.
Oh.
So I think that this is just my guess. I think that maybe it was a costume that he maybe didn't think about the fact that he's making a political statement. So who knows where he lies, but we do know that the latest Purge movie was called The Great Election, and Keep America Great was the
It does
tagline.
make me think that he's probably in the top 2.
Yeah.
If not the one.
If he hasn't discussed this, I completely agree.
Because most of the guys who aren't being directly advised are going to be like, they don't know any better right now from a PR standpoint, not to just like talk about anything that they're coming under fire for.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we're seeing many of the men of this season be very vocal in the comments in different sections. Like, why has Brendan not said a word?
Because he's probably with Tayshia, or is like second, or is the runner up. That's what I think.
Wouldn't hate it.
That's what I think.
Wouldn't hate it.
I wouldn't hate it either. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what's going to happen.
We'll see. I mean, I do have to be honest with you. Everything felt pretty clear cut to me 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh, these are the obvious men. But I feel like this might be a tight race with a few guys.
I think after this week, it seems like Zach is really, really high up in the running.
From looking from an outside perspective, my gut reaction is that I see like Tayshia obviously is very attracted to Brendan. It seems like she's super attracted to Ben.
Yeah.
And I think she's got like a deep connection in more of a friendship way, like we said last week with Ivan. But I feel like Zach might be the person that she might be the best pick for her.
This is what I'm calling. I'm calling Brendan first, Zach second, Ivan third.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Brendan first. Okay. Zach second, Ivan third.
I think Zach's too old for her. Like, not like he's actually too old for her, but I feel like she wants someone that's a little bit more like hip.
Okay.
I mean, she's Miss like fashion influencer, like
no, I
not
hear you.
in a shallow way. It's just like when she's looking at the two guys, I feel like Brendan probably fits more of her current lifestyle.
Yes, I see. Okay,
especially if Zach is sober.
That's very true.
That definitely comes like I'm not saying that she's a big partier or anything. It's just like, I don't know. I see Brendan just fitting in with her lifestyle more.
Well, and knowing that her ex was also a roofer.
Yes.
That's kind of... So I am in agreement with you. I feel like it'll be Brendan first, Zach second, but I think it'll be Ben third, Ivan fourth.
I forgot about Ben.
I think Ben will be in position number 3. But the thing is again, from outside, my initial thought is Brendan, but after this week's date and now getting to know Brendan, I'm like clearly super attracted to him. But I just feel like
the depth is there.
I feel like the connection long term might be more with Zach. I don't know. Just conversationally, like obviously when her and Brendan were sitting together and he opened up with her, they do have a lot in common. But then also now knowing that Zach was married before too.
I know. Yeah.
You know, I think that to me then all of a sudden was like, oh, this might be, I don't know.
I think though Zach is more of, to use a Bachelor term that I'm surprised has not been thrown around this year, Zach is more intriguing to her.
Yes.
And intriguing generally does not make the number one pick.
Very true. Very true. It's like you always get tricked. You think intriguing is going to have the number one pick, but it ends up being
intriguing is not as
the
sustainable.
one who's more steady.
Yep. Exactly. Intriguing is not as sustainable long term.
And Brendan has proven to be nothing but consistent this whole time.
Not to mention, was he the first one-on-one or one of the first one-on-ones? I can't remember now.
Oh, he was the first one-on-one, I believe. And that's
And
always...
according to Bachelorette history.
Now, I was also noticing during this episode, Brendan is kind of like, the show is highlighting his kind of encouragement, peacekeeping ways. He's the whole time during the date, the art date, you kept hearing him in the background going like, that was so great of you guys to open up. I'm really proud of all you guys.
Really nice.
So sweet. So sweet. I was just like, my heart, Brendan, those eyes, Brendan.
You know who also might be a sleeper who we might see come out more next week if he gets on one-on-one is Spencer.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Also, let's not forget young Noah, in the words of Bennett, because I think after this week we might see a different side of Noah.
There are so many guys.
That's what I'm saying. It's so like, oh shit, you think about a few for a second and then you're like, oh my God, there's so many options. Now, my number one pick, my choice for myself is Kenny.
R.I.P.
I have developed a obsession with Kenny. Okay? Like an obsession with him. I started following him on Instagram. Also listened to him on Bachelor Happy Hour for only a few minutes because I have a very short attention span these days.
Yeah.
But I realized there's a new side of Kenny. Kenny now, I picture him, this boy, like Rachel asked Kenny, like, well, you're like, we forget about what you do. Like, you have to be a little bit cutthroat. Like, you're a manager. You're dealing with music. You're dealing with like, you know, needing to tell like the guys what to do, how to act, and then like keeping fans away. And he's like, yeah, he's a little more cutthroat. And you know, I like that. And I'm just like, oh God, now I'm picturing Kenny with those double earrings and that backwards hat.
Kenny
like,
will be
boxing.
your new representation. All inquiries, please email Kenny.
Fact, also following him on Instagram, the music that the guy is playing, the fashion, it's out of control. I have now gotten stars tattooed on my body. If you're watching the YouTube, I'm wearing one single fingerless glove because I feel like Kenny would do it. Also, got a kiss emoji DM from Kenny, but I 100% sent him, you know, like clappy hands from one of his photos. But I'm taking that kiss to the grave. I told Evan I'm leaving you now.
Hot fire, baby.
Hot fire. Kenny, you've done a thing.
I'm here for it.
You've done a number on me. I apologize for all the hate. I've developed a new strange obsession with you.
I love it.
Justice for Kenny.
You know who Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we gotta get into this episode. But before we do,
yes.
I have to say, Jess, we did not acknowledge that either our 200th episode anniversary and our 2-year anniversary.
I know. Oh my God. Can you believe?
Round of applause for us. For us commitment phobes. We have done 2 years together. Almost every fucking week, barring some births and some holidays. We have gotten in the studio almost every week for 2 years.
That's pretty crazy.
It's insane.
Because even during the holidays, we would still do one episode a week and we'd like pre-record one.
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
And you only took 1 day off for your births.
I couldn't help it. And we've done over 200 episodes now, which means we've logged like probably over 300 hours of us talking to each other.
Oh my God, am I getting emotion?
Isn't that 300 hours of us talking?
That's crazy.
How many other friendships? I don't have any other friendships where I have like you can literally go back.
I don't speak to most of my friends.
Yeah. A quick text here and there, and the 100 emoji on their Instagram story. You know, a kiss face like Kenny.
Occasional like.
Occasional like or comment. You look great, girl. But it's just nuts. Also, for any new listeners, which there's always some, we started our friendship on the podcast. Episode 1 was one of the first times we ever hung out, just the two of us.
Yes, it was the first time you and I ever hung out alone.
And our whole friendship has been cataloged on this podcast from beginning to end for the past 200 episodes.
This is getting a little bit romantic and I'm here for it. That's crazy. Oh man, I love you. A tear.
So with that, the best 200th anniversary and 2-year present you could be was to rate us 5 stars on the Apple Podcast app. We love it.
Oh, please, yes. And thank you, broads, for sticking with us this whole time through
Wow.
the ups and the downs.
I like the way your glove claps.
Thank you. This is my Kenny clap. Also golf clap. But, you know, through the ups and the downs, through our laughing, our crying, our mistakes, all of our things, we so appreciate it.
Okay. Crazy enough, we're not that far off from 20K ratings. So for our 2-year anniversary, 200th episode anniversary, maybe we could get 20K
Oh my God.
ratings. That would be insane.
Broads, I
We'd
only
love it.
ask for 2 things. 1, getting us to 20K ratings.
We only need like 3,000 people, I think, to read a. You don't even have to write a
Then
review.
maybe
You just have to tap
the
the stars.
producers will acknowledge us. And two, the only other thing I ask is to get Kenny to jump out of a birthday cake.
Oh my God, I love that. Out of a Christmas box.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, even better.
Festive. He can have one of those like bows over his dick.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd be down.
I feel like
Kenny, are you down?
Yeah, let me know. Wow, well, that's wonderful.
I know.
Love
Congrats
you
to us. Love you too.
Congrats to us.
Well
Love
done.
you, broads. We did it. And now this is our last episode ever.
And this is a good time to say that I will be leaving the show.
We have had, our friendship has been on the rocks. We've been really struggling. We've broken up friendship-wise. This is the last episode, and that's it.
And now from here on out, it'll be Chatty Jess.
Yeah, Chatty Jess, just me by myself, really lonely in the studio, making myself laugh. That's so depressing.
Sometimes I think about like what would happen if one of us died. Like how long would it be appropriate to put the podcast on hold before starting again?
Honest to God, if
I died, how many episodes of a break would Jess take before we'd keep going?
I'm going to say this right now. Let it be written down in history. If I die on a Monday evening, I would hope and pray that on Tuesday morning, you're coming in doing a memoriam to me, because that's what I would want.
All right, that's a lot to live up to, but me and Evan were just like sobbing, just like, and so, all right, so are you Team Bennett or Noah? Just died yesterday.
But what Jess wants is for it to continue. Can you imagine?
I have permission. I give permission for you to continue.
I thank you.
You must take a 2-month break out of respect for the departed.
Okay.
And then I would ask that you pick someone else from Bachelor Nation to take over my place.
Oh, I don't think I could continue the podcast. I think I would just start my own podcast. It's called Sad Jess.
Sad.
Every week, I guess what you might have said, and then I cry for about 30 minutes.
You're like playing the dialogue. You're like, I bet, yeah, here's Becca. That's stupid. And then you go back to whatever you're saying. That would be so depressing. Okay, enough of that depressing talk. Let's talk about our sponsors.
Yeah, let's talk about our sponsors because they are not depressing. Okay, broads. So, like it or not, another year is coming to a close.
Like it. That's what I say.
Yes, like it. And like that this year is coming to a close. And while I like to pretend I'm still 24 and will be 24 for forever, I know that's not really the case, which means it's super important for me and all of us with uteruses really to stay on top of our reproductive health. But I know getting tests done at doctor's office can be intimidating, not to mention expensive, but Modern Fertility is the one company changing that.
Broads, Modern Fertility is the most comprehensive at-home fertility test on the market. With just the prick of a finger, you can find out all you need to know to tackle family planning head on. After completing the at-home test, you just mail back your package with a prepaid label, and you'll have your personalized results within 10 days. So quick.
So quick. It's everything you need to know laid out in an easy to understand way, insight into how many eggs you have, hormone levels, and other important fertility factors. You'll even get the chance to talk one-on-one with a fertility nurse to walk you through next steps. And if you've ever had a fertility test done at a traditional doctor's office, you know it can be up to $1,000. Modern Fertility gets you the same information for just $159. That's a huge savings. And if you want kids today or maybe one day in the future or just want to know about your reproductive health, you need information to make the decisions that are best for you.
Well, and right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/chatty. So that means your test will cost only $139 instead of the hundreds or thousands it could cost at a doctor's office. Such a good deal. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/chatty. That's modernfertility.com/chatty.
Well, speaking of the kiddos, if there's one thing 2020 has taught me, it's the value of family and those everyday moments that turn into lifetime memories. Now more than ever, I want to make sure I hold small moments close to me forever. And that's why I've been going crazy framing photos of my loved ones with FrameBridge. FrameBridge makes it easier and more affordable than ever to frame your favorite things without ever leaving the house. Add a gallery wall to your home office or send the perfect gift, from art prints and diplomas to the photos sitting on your phone. You can FrameBridge just about anything. Maybe that's what we should do for our 200th episode. FrameBridge our faces.
We should. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting some prints framed for Christmas for Grayston, and I took them by some local framing shops to get quotes, and none of the quotes could beat FrameBridge. Seriously.
Wow.
Not to mention, they can ship a tube to your home so you can put the poster in it.
It's so,
Like, have it picked up at your house and then get the frame delivered to you.
they have it fully dialed.
It's amazing.
It's so easy.
So yeah, it's really simple. You just go to framebridge.com, upload your favorite photo, or you can send in your physical pieces, like I was saying, with the packaging that's provided by FrameBridge. Then you can preview your photos online in every frame style or gallery wall combo you could possibly imagine. Or if you're creatively challenged, FrameBridge's team of designers will give you free recommendations. They also have really cool frame options. I just got an art print for myself framed with an amazing frame that they have on their website.
The cutest options. And after you make your decision, the experts at FrameBridge will frame your piece and deliver it to you ready to hang. And as my baby girl gets older, I've slowly become the obsessive mother that takes pictures of every single milestone when she allows me to do so, and important moments, because time is going way too fast. And thankfully, you can use FrameBridge to display the best ones for a fraction of the cost that it would cost me at a frame store. Like Becca was saying, the prices are so good. I've went a little bit overboard, let's be honest, but Ember's just that cute, and I can't get enough pictures right now of her framed.
I feel like some of our listeners would want framed photos of Ember, so it's not weird.
Let me know.
Get started today. Frame your photos or send someone the perfect gift. Go to framebridge.com, use promo code CHATTY, and you'll save an additional 15% off your first order. I'm not gonna lie, I've created multiple email accounts to use our own coupon code for FrameBridge. So just a pro tip. Just go to framebridge.com, promo code CHATTY. Framebridge.com, promo code CHATTY. All right. So
well, let's get into this. I will say this one glove is nice for hot coffee. So this episode, Crazy, was filmed in Maui. Just kidding. We're in La Quinta.
Oh my God. I've heard, meanwhile, are they still filming? What's his name's?
Matt James? No, they're done with filming, apparently.
Holy shit.
We can talk about the preview for his episode either at the end of this podcast
about
or
it
with Date Card Pod. But I'm sorry. It looks like they really outdid themselves for Matt and gave Tayshia and Claire just like...
They're still trying to figure it out, you know? It's sort of early in quarantine. They're just doing whatever they could do.
He's at like some mansion resort. They're skydiving. There's exploding fireworks all over. There's tons of sobbing
COVID
people.
restrictions are a little more lenient in other parts of the country.
Apparently.
So I guess that's their workaround.
Threw shade at, the governor of California.
Who's
who's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know why I did that.
Governor. Dude, I got some beef with Newsom. That is for sure.
Spotted out about at those public dinners. Anyways.
At those expensive dinners.
I know.
Okay, let's not get into it. All right, so
Tayshia, by the way, is looking unbelievable. Let's take another moment to admire her wardrobe, her personal styling in like all of this episode. Just killing it. Carrie is weeping. But another beauty shows up. JoJo in just a bubbly whirlwind, looking 10 out of 10. Is she 10 years younger?
God, I mean, something she's had done to her makes her look 10 years younger. I don't know if it's just her natural beauty with aging or what.
I mean, she has always just been one of the most beautiful humans, but like she walked in and I'm like, 100% you are actually 10 years younger.
That's crazy.
Wild.
She looks fantastic.
Well, they have a conversation. We find out in this conversation that Tayshia says she is
already falling in love.
Falling for multiple people, which we dive into more.
She also talks about how she's serious about marriage, and I always do forget that she has been married. And even though Tayshia, she's not really on the younger side, I guess. She's pretty, like, not that she's not young, but, you know, she's sort of in the middle. It's not like she's a 23-year-old on the show.
Right.
But it's like, okay, yeah, we know she is serious about this because she has been married before.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect. I like that we had Claire on, who was 40, and then now we have Tayshia, who's already been married. Mm-hmm. It's a nice deviation from the Coltons and the Hannah Browns. No shade. It's just and the Petes. It's just a different energy.
The whole energy of this season feels very different than numerous that we have seen in the recent years.
And it feels serious. It makes me feel more invested in the love stories. And to be honest, I didn't feel that way with Hannah's, Colton's, or Pete's.
And the guys feel very serious too.
Yes.
I think maybe just even her energy being there brought that.
I totally agree.
So back with the men, Chris Harrison shows up, and at first I'm confused because I'm like, JoJo's there. Why is Chris Harrison? We had heard that she was going to be replacing, and then he's
announcing his departure.
Yes, he lets the men know that he's going to go see Joshua.
And he also says, like, for multitude of personal reasons, which then also is a clue into maybe he was spending time with Lauren Zima.
True.
He did say that. Did you notice? He was like, I'm leaving for many personal reasons.
Maybe he's dealing with a lawsuit. I just like to drop that occasionally.
I'm like, what tea do you have that I don't know about?
Absolutely nothing. Well, whenever people bring up personal reasons,
the courts are closed right now.
Yeah, that's very true.
So what are you going to do?
Well, he also lets them know that there's gonna be 2 one-on-one dates and a group date, and that someone is going to be taking his spot. He's going to be bringing JoJo in to host. Now, I did note that Brendan looked very excited, which again is a clue in that I think maybe Brendan has watched the show before.
Yes, and didn't he also make the comment last week about Tayshia's past? Yeah.
Yes.
You must watch the show.
Numerous men were trying to contain their smiles when they heard that JoJo was showing up.
Well, yeah, not to mention, it's like, if you knew about Tayshia's past with her exes, that means that you have watched the show, not just Claire's season, you know? Because the guys had no idea Tayshia was going to be
very true. Very true. Well, we then find out that the first one-on-one date is going to be with Zach.
And it is just the good old classic wedding photo shoot that they do every single year.
Except this time it's the one-on-one with the wedding photo.
True.
Has that ever happened before? Isn't it always typically a group?
I don't know. But
and it's very like competitive. Like,
that's true.
We're going to have the rodeo wedding. We're going to have the 1920s
like
wedding.
The
Nick's Great Depression wedding.
Totally.
We're going to have the COVID wedding where they're wearing masks.
War of 1812 wedding. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and it's this time, of course, it is also with the cliche effeminate foreign man, you know?
Yes,
who might be an actor.
Franco Lacosta.
I don't think this is real.
All I know is that I'm living for his drama, living for the colorful ascots. The Parker Hotel is close by, and I felt like he was just part of the Parker aesthetic.
Yes.
If anyone's been there, they know exactly what I'm talking about. I think Franco came straight from there. Oh, wait,
he is really he's a high fashion model turned photographer and menswear designer. Look at his biopic.
Oh my God. I love him.
Can you guys see? No, you can't.
I love the drama.
Hilarious.
Also one of the very few.
I thought he was an actor, but I guess he's not.
Well, you know, he was serving that a little bit. He definitely was. He was giving us what we wanted. And,
he was.
So we find out that this is what they're going to be doing. Zach is definitely cluing in to the fact that Tayshia is feeling uncomfortable.
Now, this is just Grayston and my opinion, which, by the way, half of what I say I write down after Grayston says it, so I have to give him credit where credit is due. We felt like the worst way for us, and maybe not for Tayshia, the worst way he could have handled it was like, I want this to be like as real as possible. Like it's actually our wedding photo shoot was kind of the vibe that he gave.
Oh, for real?
I thought I felt like he was like, I felt like what he should have done, which I felt like he didn't do, was be like, let's just have fun. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a photo shoot. Like, let's let our silly sides, like, let's just have fun.
So from my perspective, I thought that it was handled in the best way possible.
We both had ick time, and not even, I'm sorry, I know I've called Zach a creepy dad a million times, not even because of Zach. We were just like, if I was feeling panicky about this, I would feel even more pressure being like, this is like This is serious.
So I felt like what happened is that Zach was cluing in to the fact that because we've seen with Zach how he's handled some of the men, that he seems to be very like in tune with perceptive, which also then makes sense when we find out that he like helps run like a recovery center and is like tuned in. So with the whole Tayshia piece, I was like, okay, he's picking up that she's off about something.
Which wasn't hard to pick up considering she was like...
She's not into this. She's not into this. So then later, though, he was saying, maybe not in that moment, but later then, he's like, when Franco was trying to put a veil on her, he was like, no. If you don't want to do it, don't put it on. And he was trying to lose. And then he said, let's have fun. Let's laugh.
Okay,
and then
he did that later. No, but initially when they met up, it was like... I can really see this being us. I was like, why would you say that? She's literally panicking right now about this. And you're like, this is what our wedding photo shoot would be like.
This will be what will be in the photo albums in the future.
What?
Yeah, no, initially I don't know if fun. But then I feel like he handled it really, really well. Now I do have some serious beef with the black tux who did not fit him properly in that first suit. Like
they knew it was gonna be him. It was so ill-fitting.
It's like, y'all, you're getting this promo all over the place, and those pants are 5 sizes too big for him. He's floating
like he's wearing dad's tux.
He looked
with the old big boxy suits.
It was like a bachelor of yore, like one of the what was Alex, the first bachelor with those huge suits.
Yes, like zoot suits. It's like in his 30s. Where's the fedora, buddy?
What's happening?
But then it did end up really fun.
Yeah, and then I felt like, I mean, when she walked up in that dress, immediately, first of all, she was just looking unbelievable.
Yes,
Zach says, his words, seeing Tayshia walking up, beautiful is a word that is not enough. Another word will be created to describe this. And all I could picture is Chasen popping out of the bushes and being like, smoke show! That's the word you're looking for!
Caliente, or what was the word?
Muy caliente.
Muy caliente.
Smoke show. So Zach's just like, there's just beautiful isn't the word. There's going to be another word. And Zach's like holding up his diary. This is it!
I love that.
You're still on the premises, sir?
Someone please escort him off. It ended up being fun though, but then also none of the... Do you see like the photo pics that like popped up? It was like, and they were just horrible.
Oh,
that's where I thought the guy was not a real photographer.
It was just movement. Also, the transition from photo to photo. We have a
trampoline.
We have a beautiful, wedding day photo, and then it goes straight into just Zach being in like a full smoking jacket, and then it goes to them looking like they're in space, and he's like, or more like Wicked the musical. She had like a Galinda dress on, or however you say her name, and then he had a full, what's that Disney show? Zoe or whatever, the space one, Protozoa. He had like Protozoa suit on.
Oh my god!
Like, why is it
21st century girl or however it goes? Yeah, what the fuck?
It just didn't make any sense. It was like wedding photo to. I don't know what all of these are.
And this had to be like 3 hours because they had to have time to do in the moments and have to do outfit changes.
Oh my gosh. Now, I felt again, and I know that we have different opinions with Zach, but the chemistry during this, there was a certain moment at the very top when they were in their first outfit together where they're looking at each other and he does that quick kiss and then pulls away and is just staring at her. And again, a moment where like when they were in the jacuzzi, I'm dripping sweat.
Yeah, I've been, getting some heat for the Zach hate, which I won't stop, by the way. But, I don't understand the chemistry, but I respect it. I'll say that, I don't get it, but I respect it, and it's there.
It's not for you, but the chemistry is there.
We have to acknowledge it. It's there. And you're right.
I would sweep Zach off his feet.
Well, okay, but let's talk about sitting for the picnic.
Now,
Things got weird.
Yes, I definitely had a few moments during the picnic.
I was just confused. Okay, so first of all, he ends up revealing he was married too.
Yes, that's when we find that out.
Which is a big thing.
Huge. And he that there's more to the story because he immediately says, yeah, I was married once before, like for a year. And the way he put it, you're like, oh, there's more that's coming.
I know. And I love the way he framed it. I mean, I love that we haven't seen very much ex trash talking and how he made it very clear later on when he's telling his story.
Yes,
I'm
I want
jumping
to talk
ahead.
about that.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But we replayed this like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
He gave her the weirdest look.
Yes, and then she calls him out
And then
for
she
it.
goes, "What's wrong?" And he's like, "What? Nothing." And I was so confused. We played back that face and it was like the most bizarre thing, and I still don't really know what happened.
And then when he's like, "Can I tell you something?" And I think this
was weird.
Well, this is the second time he's like gone into whisper, and I'm like, I don't know if you're just so you know, Zach, you are mic'd. It's not just the boom mics that are hanging in. So when you lean in, we can still hear what you're saying. So I don't know if that's what he's attempting to do.
I don't know,
but I don't like that. That gives me the creep. I don't like. I love you, Zach.
It was weird because it felt
like
there was some. I felt like when he made that face, he was gonna go into like his serious story. But then he didn't. He was like, "What? No, I'm fine. This is my normal face." And then he's like, "Actually, what it is you're just so breathtaking."
Yeah, it was
and
cringy.
like it was just weird.
That was cringy. It was cringy. It made me feel a little cringe.
And he's like, "And I just can't get used to like how breathtaking you look."
I think she even was weirded out by that moment.
It was
as
just
much
a bizarre-
as she's into him, she was kind of like, huh? Like, why are you whispering to me again?
That interaction was just bizarre, and I don't know what exactly happened there, but maybe he wanted to tell his story, but production had suggested that he wait until the dinner.
Yeah, because they were talking about like he was like, I was married before, and maybe there was that moment of like I'm about to go into
like
it.
this is a
and production's behind him like this.
No, and that is a very like organic way of you know, maybe doing the segue, but that's definitely a thing that producers do. I've talked about it before, where they really were like, don't talk about his age. Let's have a conversation at dinner. Don't bring up the age thing. It's best to just wait. It was really like, and I didn't realize that. I was like, okay, weird,
like, okay.
But all right.
And then they're stirring the pot like Becca doesn't want him to find out her age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
So it's definitely something that I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, but still very bizarre.
It was an odd moment. Well, they have a date, the dinner date then. And
it's so nice.
I was like, okay, production coming out with the uplight, like colors, colorful, romantic by the pool. I'm always interested to see the men or women that they give the one-on-ones to, that they put a lot of time into, where it's like, clearly these are the tops for the lead. Like the Brendan date was really romantic. They put a big effort into all that. They put an effort into the Zach when they in fact hired this man to come out and do the photo shoots. They got sponsors, you know, now they have this beautiful dinner. You know, versus like the easy date, which, you know, don't get me wrong, the haunted house would have been my favorite.
Oh, yes.
But it was not nearly as like high production.
Yes,
it was at night. You know.
Everything was all lit up. I kind of felt like it was almost like paradise vibes. It was really nice.
So that's then when we start to hear Zach's story, which to be honest, I wasn't surprised that he had a pretty intense story. I kind of got that energy from him.
Not to mention, like, him being an addiction specialist. It's like, generally speaking, people come from some sort of background in order to take them to that career. Not always,
for sure.
But
even if he wouldn't have had the addiction specialist piece, there's just a lot about his energy, like that very like calm. Also, him consistently kind of mediating between the men is a little bit of like there's something, you know, whatever. And so that's when we find out. He talks about that he has an amazing family, but then he says that
brain tumor was out of left field.
Yeah, well, he said he wasn't feeling well, and then he found out that he had a brain tumor, had to get surgery the next morning, which is like unbelievably traumatizing. But then the result of that surgery, that he was introduced to pain meds around 23 years old. And that kind of is what spurred him to get married off the cuff. And then this is when which to me, if I'm a lead, also a viewer of the show, is number one thumbs up positive sign.
Because he took full responsibility and he was like, my ex didn't do anything.
He did not paint himself in like this beautiful light.
No.
He was very honest about everything. He said he has a wonderful family, that his ex did nothing wrong, that she was patient with him. It was all full revealing ownership.
Yeah.
Also, he didn't do the Blake thing where he's just like, you know, if you'd call her now, like, she would say nice things about me. But it wasn't her fault. But, like, she also would say nice things about me. There was zero excuses. Yeah. There were zero excuses made. And yeah, I mean, long story short, we end up finding out that he became addicted to drugs and that he was in a really, really bad way. Got a DUI, got arrested. His wife left him. And then I got really emotional when he was talking about when he stole his dad's check and that bank teller he said was his angel who called the dad, and the dad came in, and it was kind of like a very like biblical story moment.
Totally. The coming home.
Yeah, the dad like
the prodigal son of like, you're still welcome to home.
That dad shows up, son stole the check, wife's gone, he got arrested, and is like, it's okay, son, like we're good. And he said that was his big awakening.
His moment of clarity.
And since then, he was in rehab for 4 months, and now he's on the board of a rehab, and that's what he does. And I was also extremely impressed by, you know what I really love about Tayshia is she lets people talk.
Totally. Yeah, I noticed that too. And she had like she always has really appropriate responses. Yeah.
She didn't do, sorry, Claire.
I know.
But Claire,
I know.
Claire
totally. I have a friend who also went through addiction.
There isn't that interrupting.
Tayshia's just emotionally mature, and she
and don't get me started on what Peter
immature.
Colton would have done.
But it is like the appropriate way to handle these sorts of situations, letting people talk, giving them their space to have their moment without having to make it. She didn't make it about herself at all. She never does that. That's what it is. She never makes the conversation about herself.
Let Zach
it's so difficult to do.
Yeah, she let Brendan speak, especially in a high pressure situation. I know my knee-jerk reaction is to be like, oh yeah, let's relate.
Exactly. That's your instinct, is to relate, right? And it comes from a good place to try to make the other person feel comfortable and to try to make yourself feel more comfortable in the situation. But
she just lets it
she doesn't do that.
be, and she hears them. And then her response is always very like, thank you. I see like how that must have been, like I see the growth, like whatever, just a beautiful response. Yeah. And then also I feel like it lets people feel really safe too. And I felt like the way that they wrapped the conversation is that he got zero judgment from her.
Yep.
In fact, I love how she asked him a question right away and said, do you feel like you had to prove yourself to your family after that? Which is a really, like, that's an important question to talk about in a relationship. Yeah. And then she was like a very safe place for him.
I also feel like we generally don't see people highlighting their own personal addiction stories. It's very much usually like a secondhand thing. My brother, my dad, my mom. So that's pretty cool to see someone come out about their own addiction, like to narcotics.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean,
it might have been one of the very first times, huh?
Yeah. It's gotten really personal with these guys, and so I do enjoy that.
So obviously, wrapping it up with let's talk.
Because back at the ranch.
Noah says, the men are talking, and Noah says that he wants to save all his energy for her because the group dates are competitive. Of course, Bennett
has to bring it back around.
Bennett, we have a lot to talk about with Bennett. And then we find out that there's going to be the group date, and then Easy is going to have the one-on-one date.
Bennett has to bring up how he doesn't get any time at the cocktail party. Bennett also says a date with Noah would be the worst night of her life. He's so obsessed with Noah. Way more obsessed than I am. Bennett's obsessed with Noah.
He is obsessed with Noah. So obsessed. And you know that I'm not a Noah stan, haven't been a Noah fan, but I found, and we obviously will get into this, I was so confused this entire episode. I was like, did we miss a huge part where Noah did these horrible things, where Noah became the Luke P of the season? Why? What is Bennett talking about?
And even before Noah came to Tayshia,
yes,
doing
which
the
was
whole
major
thing,
shitty. But before then, what was going on?
And I didn't even think I know people don't agree with me, but I didn't even think that was major shitty. I was like, all right, he's playing the game. I like rolled my eye. I really, like, who Noah is aside, I didn't really think it was that big of a deal. And I felt like they're making a mountain out of a molehill. And then, but before that, Bennett was still obsessed with him. It was like the minute, he's just jealous. Honestly, it sadly comes down to he's just jealous.
Well, and let's not forget, before Noah, there was Chasen that Bennett became obsessed with.
And it's because my theory from last week, I have now doubled down on it. It's 100% true. Bennett wants to be the chill, cool guy, the cool surfer bruh, who just doesn't give a fuck. He will literally never be that, and because of that, it's always probably all he's wanted to be his whole life. He has gone in the opposite direction, overcompensated. They're like, I'm a gentleman who would never be on this level of chill because I'm too gentlemanly. And he's just super overcompensating because he feels insecure and he wants to be that chill guy that he'll never be. And so he fixates on how these guys would never make a good partner and how they're just babies, children. It's so embarrassing for him. It was so ironic later on when he brought up the whole emotional intelligence thing. I'm like, you're lecturing him on self-awareness. You literally have zero self-awareness of your own shortcomings and how jealous and obsessed you are with these people that you want to be like. I'm sorry.
This is sermon I'm living for.
Like, I cannot handle the level of hypocrisy, him thinking that he's this emotionally intelligent, woke king. He is probably the least self-aware person there.
Facts.
I could not handle this episode. And it's not just because of the Noah obsession. I swear to God. It was just over and over again. It's like, what is your problem?
No, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't matter if it was Ed. Oh, sweet Ed.
I like Ed. I don't know.
I'm starting to be like, all right.
I've been saying that. Like, Ed is funny to me. I like him.
Yeah, Ed's not coming for Noah hard. He
Ed's
came
like
for Chase and he wasn't
character.
a huge fan of Chase, and clearly they had some issues. But, Ed shows us the balanced version of Bennett.
So anyway.
So back to Zach and Tayshia.
Oh, yeah. Gets the rose.
Obviously, she gives him the rose, and of course, afterwards, because it's Zach, they get this
sick Ferris wheel.
She takes that lever and it's just like, yeah, and then it just lights up.
By the way, I've always said I wanted a Ferris wheel at my wedding, so now I feel like I have to make it happen.
You definitely need a Ferris wheel at your wedding, 100%.
Like Coachella, people can take photos in front of it.
Oh my God, yeah, I'll never get off of it during the ceremony. I'll just be like,
champagne.
But
what if there was an attendant by as the wheel's coming, they hand you a glass of champagne or refill as you're going in the circle?
Yes, Puke City, baby. But you know what I just kept laughing about was I'm like, this is so glorious and romantic. I was just picturing them though bringing it in. Obviously, everyone saw it.
Oh yeah,
it's huge, and they're having to construct it.
Oh, look at these lights!
Yeah, like this whole thing. Everyone knows that the Ferris wheel's probably been there for 48 hours as the circus folk were setting it up. Well, I mean, whatever.
They're like, oh, whoa, what's this giant thing that's been towering above the resort?
Put a giant tarp over it like a Trojan horse. That
would be
thing.
cool, and then do a whole silk reveal thing.
But I was dying.
So
that was.
She really likes him. That was clear to me.
She is just over the moon for Zach. She is talking more so than anybody about how she has butterflies. She hasn't felt this way in a while. She says that her heart is racing. She has shortness of breath. And then we get she's falling in love with him.
I know.
And he is the very first person, I believe, that she said that about.
Y'all, I don't get it.
I get it so hard. Every moment of this date, I was falling more and more in love with Zach. And obviously my heart is with Kenny. But in this situation, I'm a Brendan stan. But after this, I am feeling very torn.
It's like, I respect the guy, think he's a nice guy. Like, he's had hard times in his life.
You're not attracted
really
to him.
Happy where he's at. I still think he's weird and creepy.
Why creepy?
He's got creepy vibes to me. And Gray agreed with me. Has nothing to do with his fucking, past and his struggles with addiction. No, I just don't like his vibe. And I don't have to like his vibe. And I think he's weird. And I think he's creepy.
I love that. I don't have to like it.
I feel like people always do this thing, of like, wow, but this person's had a hard life. I don't care how hard someone's life has been.
No,
so,
you're not into him. I
just think,
if I was a single woman, if Tayshia didn't pick Zach, you best believe I'd be sliding into those DMs.
But whatever, happy for them, muzzle tough. Okay, so moving on to the group date, which I'm psyched to talk about.
Yes, but we love the group date. But before we get into the group date, let's talk about something else that we love. Has anyone ever been to the post office when it isn't busy?
No, you could go at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday and there would be a line of 15 people.
I'm 99% sure that there isn't one moment that there wouldn't be a long ass line in front of the post office. And now we're going into Christmas and you already know the lines are going to be even crazier because people are sending things more than ever to family members and loved ones, which is why I am exclusively using stamps.com for all my mailing needs.
Get it, girl. Me too. And, you think the lines are bad normally. Add on the fact that a lot of people are staying home and mailing gifts to family and friends for the holidays instead. It's a big thing this year. I'm with you on stamps.com. It's the best. Literally anything you can do at the post office, you can do with just a few clicks online. And as if that wasn't enough of a reason to skip the post office, stamps.com saves you money with discounts you can't even get at the post office. I think this is great, not just for small businesses, but just like people who, have family and friends. I'm sending packages every month to people.
Oh, I have so many that I'm shipping out this month. If I wouldn't have stamps, it'd be a nightmare. Also, yes.
Deals.
Huge deals. Like 5 cents off every first class stamp, up to 40% off priority mail, and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. That's huge. Simply use your computer to print official US postage 24/7 for any letter, any package, any class of mail, anywhere you want to send it. With stamps.com, you're going to save time and money, so it's obvious. You just got to do it.
Yep. Don't spend a minute of your holiday season at the post office this year, broads. Sign up for stamps.com instead. There's no risk. With our promo code CHATTY, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to stamps.com. Click on the mic at the top of the homepage. Type in CHATTY. Stamps.com. Enter CHATTY. Stamps.com. You never have to go to the post office again.
Well, broads, a lot of you know that the Christmas season in my house started weeks ago, but for the rest of the non-Christmas obsessed folks, I think we can all agree we are officially in the holiday season now that Thanksgiving is over, which means, of course, the only acceptable music choice right now for myself is of the festive variety. I'm switching back and forth between the Christmas classics like Nat King Cole and then modern holiday pop like some Miley Xmas tracks. Daughter's favorite, the Grinch soundtrack. But thankfully, there is one streaming service that has them all, and that is Amazon Music Unlimited. I'm also a sucker for Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. Obviously, this time of year, it's basically impossible not to dance when the song comes on. Thankfully, my Alexa is hooked up to Amazon Music, which means Christmas dance party is always just moments away. If you haven't tried Amazon Music before, for a limited time, you can get your first 3 months of Amazon Music Unlimited for free. That means you'll get access to more than 70 million songs on demand and ad-free anytime you want. And if you want to stream for free all the time, give Amazon Music a try. You'll get access to millions of podcast episodes at no charge, thousands of music stations, top playlists. Listen at home or wherever you are. Your holidays will be merrier with fun, festive tunes. Remember, for a limited time, new subscribers can get 3 months of Amazon Music Unlimited for free. Go to amazon.com/chatty. That's amazon.com/chatty to get your first 3 months of Amazon Music free. Starts at $7.99 per month after. New subscribers only. Terms apply. Offer expires 1/11/2021. All right, so this group date. When, of course, they first walk in, I'm like, are they making these men get naked again?
I wrote that too. I was like, of course, this is disgusting. I was ready to write a letter to the big man, Mike Fleiss himself.
Oh, flipping tables over here. Absolutely flipping tables. Couldn't believe it. But then...
Blake cracked me up. He goes, this is the 3rd time I'm getting naked on this journey. Loved that he said journey. That just killed me.
Oh my God, Blake. I was cracking up that they had the pink-haired tattooed art teacher vibe.
Oh, I know.
And then, of course...
This was insane.
Of course, the creepiest nude couple situation. Girl, relatively young, right? This man was creepy as fuck.
I know.
And he looked exactly like, to the point of exact comparison, to the Will Ferrell character on SNL, who is the nude model.
Oh my God.
Who does the thinker and the stinker. And he bends over so that you can see his butt.
Oh,
the butthole specifically.
This seems like the type of guy who, like, this is his dream come true. To be a nude model. He's like, oh, it's for the art. No, it's to pose with the beautiful, gorgeous, naked women.
He saw this ad and he came a-running. He's like, oh my God. Also,
he's like, do you need erect or flaccid for your drawing needs?
Also, all I could think about too was they have been so strict on COVID, like well, at least I shouldn't say they've been so strict, but they were pretty intense about quarantining, that we haven't had barely any people from the outside come in as guests. And yet we have these 2 nude art models who are there. So it makes me think, are these poor staff members from La Quinta? Are these producers?
Oh my God. They're like, the job options are slim with COVID.
I mean,
well, okay. When you were talking about terrible, I thought we were going to talk about how immediately when Noah sits down next to Tayshia and Bennett goes, I'm sitting here, and I died. Noah just goes, you literally just made that up.
I wanted to ask you about this because this moment was so confusing for me because it was so uncomfortable. I was like, oh, in group dates, do they have...
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Which I'm sorry, I have to give props to Noah. He didn't make a thing about it.
No.
I'm telling you, like, they are trying to paint this guy as like a drama star. Well, not really. In this episode, they didn't really paint him. But he literally, Bennett's like, this is my seat. And he's like, you just made that up. And then he's like, whatever. And he goes sits somewhere else in the room and doesn't make a thing about it.
If the tables had been turned and Noah
the tables would have been flipped.
They would have been flipped. Noah would have walked up to Bennett and been like, this is my seat. Bennett would have turned around and been like, young Noah, you imbecile. And he'd pull out a fucking
And he probably would have gotten
thesaurus
naked and laid on the table and been like, this is all my seats.
Everything is my seat. This is my kingdom. I am so wealthy.
Peeing on everything. I have now marked my territory and it is mine. But he's just like, whatever. He just goes and sits down. And so poor Tayshia now is forced to sit next to Bennett.
Oh my God. And the creepiness got to a whole different level. Because they, of course, that didn't happen right away.
Okay, no. First, he has to make his presentation.
First they have to do the sketches,
yes.
Right? Which was making me laugh so hard that they had to blur out all the sketches.
I also couldn't believe they were all so horrible.
I know, they were terrible. Not a single artist. Later with their self-portraits, we saw some art come out. And I was actually pretty impressed. But the sketching we have to work on.
Yes.
Okay. But
when he presents his drawing,
yes,
he's like, this is about background noise and drama, and has to make it super pointed at Noah.
I mean,
so weird.
So uncalled for. No one is asking for this. So childish. And then, of course, why, of course, do they have to bring out blindfolds again? Why is this season of The Bachelorette the blindfolded Bachelorette?
Gray was freaking out and was like, this is so not okay. This is so not consensual.
It's so inappropriate when there has never been a more... You know what was more horror movie than the easy haunted house date? Was watching Bennett put a blindfold on and he walks past the table like this. And he drifts his hand across the table. It was horrifying. It looked like he was about to kill her. And then she's blindfolded, trying to create something out of clay. And he grabs her and kisses her.
It's not the first time that he has had a non-consensual physical situation with her. This is actually about the 3rd time.
Correct.
On camera.
Correct.
On camera.
Correct.
So what the hell else is going on? He forcefully kissed her in front of everyone on the grown-ass man thing. Mm-hmm. Kissed her again. I believe he kissed her in the bed too for the grown-ass man date.
Yes.
And then I think there's another time that I'm forgetting. I don't know. I know this is the 3rd time.
Yes.
At least.
Yes. There's a lot of uncomfortable interactions.
And not okay. And I really feel like she feels uncomfortable around him and unsafe.
She does not look happy.
No. And I think she's just like going along with it. I hate that. I hate seeing the lead. It happened with Claire too, with the blindfolding and everything.
When producers are like suggested her have a 2-on-1 with Bennett and Noah, she's like, oh my God, yes, please, thank you. I can axe this guy. She's over it.
She's so over it. And I just feel like it's unethical to keep people around who are insistent on forcing themselves upon the lead, upon anyone. It's just not right.
No. Well, so they're given clay to make things. Spencer makes a pepperoni pizza. Ben makes an infinity symbol, which feels very on brand.
I like Spencer, by the way. I think he's going to have a big paradise arc.
I like Spencer too. He's very cute.
Very cute.
Very
and he's funny
cute.
too. He's got good vibes.
We came for him shade-wise because he's the La Jolla boy who was seeming to start drama. But Spencer is our king of tea. He is our gossip king.
Him spilling about Blake, about
He spilled so many times this episode. Also, last episode, he spilled tea. He
Yet
talked
he's
about
never
behind
actually
the
in the
scenes.
drama.
He's never in it, never in the drama. We barely see him in the episode, but they always go to Spencer when it's like, well, you know how he always is. And I'm just
Love
like,
that.
Spencer, we love this. We love this storyline for you.
I want him on the podcast. Spencer,
Yes.
if you can come on, if they're not blocking you from coming on, please hit us up. We'd love to have you on to talk about a little BTS of
We
the
wanna
guys in
hear
the house, about the dynamics.
All the behind the scenes.
We want to hear about Blake's sex obsession.
Also, 100% when he is on Paradise, he for sure will be. The women will be
Flocking
flocking.
like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. Very nice. So Brendan makes brownies. Blake, like Spencer said,
Makes a boner.
Which, by the way, I was picturing Blake just like turned behind the scenes, just like Edward Scissorhands style with like the clay, just like and it's just the most gorgeous,
Pristine.
like lifelike penis that you've ever seen, and all these other men just have piles of clay shit, and Blake's penis is just like it's like Michelangelo
And they
style.
can't even show us because it's a penis, unfortunately. Yeah, I bet that's how good it is.
It's so good.
It's like uncircumcised, you know?
It's like you can see every curve, every vein.
Every wrinkle on the balls. Yeah, I love that for him. Blake also is like, I think that's maybe the vibe that we were picking up on. I was like, maybe he's just kind of that overly sexual thing, but maybe he's not creepy.
Well, I don't know, because when he has these conversations, certain conversations with Tayshia, and he kind of plays like does this like romantic feel, and then we're hearing from Spencer a couple times in this episode from numerous men that Blake is obsessed with talking about sex. You're kind of like, I would like to hear what these conversations look like.
I know.
Like, are they homeschooler style?
No, extremely
where it's
crass.
immature?
No, you know it's extremely crass.
Yeah. Well, he did make a lifelike, but we've decided what it looks like. He did create a perfect clay dick.
I feel like he's into consensual, super freaky shit. He's like probably the guy that loves licking dirty buttholes. That's so gross. I hate that I just said that, but it's like really the vibe I get from him.
Well, do you remember last episode?
He's
when
like, don't shower, babe. Work out at the gym. I'm sorry, that just really grosses me out. I'm not kink shaming, but I feel like that's really what he's into.
It's not for me so much, but do you remember last episode when they had the orgasm challenge, and we talked about how Blake's was the most lifelike?
Yeah.
And he put his leg up on the thing and he was grunting.
And he was like saying shit too.
Yeah.
Let me hit it from the back, babe. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Wild boy. So then Noah has breakfast in bed with a glass of wine, by the way. I was just like, ooh, alcoholism a little bit.
I thought it was cute though. It's like, I always think that he does cute, like appropriate for the
love
things
him.
that-
It's fine.
I do. I think that, like, I just think he's a nice guy. I really believe it. I just think he's like a nice guy.
I think he's just kind of a little bit of a, I don't know. I think he would, again, via his social media presence. Sorry, Noah. I think that he would bug me because I think that he would be kind of an irritant, and I feel like he is going to be a little bit like Hannah G's Dylan, who's going to be commenting on people's comments. We'll see. I don't know.
I seriously
but I don't think
not.
he's a bad guy.
No, like,
No. And I think
he's a nice enough
I'm like,
guy.
I would like whatever about him.
Yeah, okay.
Now Bennett, on
least
the
we can
other
agree with
hand, has crafted with clay his and Tayshia's New York home, their Hamptons home, their California home,
etc., etc.,
but didn't get to the retreat and the chateau in Paris.
Now, I can't wait to get into this. So I was confused about when this comment took place, when Noah says, hey, privilege is spelled with an I, which was a funny comment to me.
Yes.
I thought that this was said in the moment, which, by the way, ITMs are like the interviews that they do with people, aka not in front of Bennett.
No, it sounded. I
was confused.
Same thing. The way that the editing looked is that you didn't see him say it.
So I thought that it was just off camera.
But then later Bennett brings it up.
that he said it. So I'm like, did he say that in the moment?
Or did they add that in and maybe he
Like,
said
maybe
that
it was
in
in
a
a
conversation afterwards?
Maybe that. I think that's what happened.
It seems like
it doesn't seem like it was said in the moment, and that also seems like in that setting is inappropriate to like throw that out. And we didn't see anyone else's reaction.
No, they would have zoomed in on Noah too and been like, have him say privilege is spelled with an I.
No, I think it was from like another conversation at their pad.
It was edited strangely.
But it was interesting to me that Ben did hear it because I didn't get the impression that he did, and that was all odd to me.
Yes, I was very confused.
Which we're going to get into it later about Bennett, but it's like, I felt like that comment was fine on par with Bennett's presentation. Like,
I mean, I'm sorry.
The man's always trying to flex his Harvard degree, flex
the wealth.
Yes.
He has his own suite with like all of his things there, you know, and at first it was hilarious, and now getting to know it, I'm like, this is not for me, thank you. I feel like
if you're always trying to flex on your material goods and you're like your extremely expensive degree.
Also, when he's throwing shit out at NOAH, to me, I don't necessarily go, great idea, you should say something, like and go in, let's get petty. But it's a little bit like, well, if you're going to throw that shit out, it's going to probably
par for the course.
Yeah.
Also, given the crazy comments that like Bennett has constantly made, I felt like that was a fairly lighthearted dig. Like
it was heavy to me, but not in an inappropriate way.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's a heavy thing, but like you said, he's been flexing monetary shit the whole time. It's always about their homes. When we live in our chateau in Paris, our breakfast in bed will have people be bringing us beignets. I mean, it's always very flashy, very well focused. I guess it's
context because they have beef. But if you think about anyone saying it to anyone else, like Blake yelling it out to Spencer or something, it's not like that crazy of a thing to say, you know?
No, I
don't think Bennett was terrible at spelling. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, privilege is spelled with an I. Like, and Bennett was just like, just could not condition and cannot take it.
No, not at all.
Oh my God.
Not at all.
Okay, so anyway.
Well, lastly were their self-portraits to express themselves. And Ben, we see that Ben's super, super nervous. Mm-hmm. We see a few of the guys are, nervous. Ivan obviously wants her. They've already had this deep conversation and connection. So there's probably more pressure too for poor Ivan, where it's like, I've already revealed myself in so many ways, and now I have to like double down and reveal more.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Yeah. Well, I have to say,
the men showed the fuck up.
Those sketches, not so great. The molded with the clay, not so much, but the creativity of these men with the self-portrait.
I wanted to see more close-ups too. So, sorry to fixate again on NOAH, but I was like, I want to see what the little words looked like. It was like his dark side and his light side.
It looked very modern art-ish. I liked the way that it looked.
Because his verbal presentation wasn't like the other ones, but still, I was like, okay, it looks like there's some work put into this.
Obviously, Tayshia is so obsessed and in love with Brendan.
I know.
Because he almost made her straight up start sobbing right there.
It was really cute.
It was a great idea because he probably knows too he's probably not super arty because beforehand...
The frame looked good though.
The frame was great, but I think the frame was probably there.
No, he cut out the canvas and he turned it into the canvas into a frame.
Well, he's a roofer too. Oh my God, so he probably is... Oh my God, it's so hot.
It was just great. And his little presentation was awesome.
With the face and then the sideways. And then, it was so sweet.
I know, the turn, it was awesome.
That was creative. Awesome. Also, just like the way he speaks makes my heart literally turn into a pile of goo.
It's so cute. I think he's a little bit I don't know what it is. He's a little bit too perfect for me. I don't know. I keep saying it's too good to be true or something. I want to see a little. No, he seemed like he is kind of funny and sarcastic though in his spare time.
Is. And he was.
I want to see more of that.
He seems like he can take some of the shit that gets thrown around. Yeah. But he was also so encouraging when the guys revealed themselves. Yeah. He was such a good cheerleader. I think
he's just too good to be true.
Oh,
but.
Brendan.
Happy for Tayshia if our theories are correct.
Yes. Well, Ben did a needle point, and there was a heart, I believe, and he brings up that life has been tough for him. Well, okay, so
I know he brings up the first thing this time.
So NOAH must have said it,
unless it was. You know what? I bet it was in between when Tayshia left the room.
Yeah, or when they were given the table with all the items. Maybe he said it to somebody and Bennett heard it.
I think, or he probably said it like, hey, Bennett, like as they were interacting. Yes, I think Tayshia had like left the room.
Yeah.
I think that because it didn't seem like he said it in front of everyone.
No,
and we would have seen everyone's reaction.
We didn't see a reaction from Tayshia.
It must have been some sort of behind the scenes where he said like, hey, Bennett, by the way, privilege is spelled with an I. Like,
yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, he brings up just like this needle
privilege
point.
is the furthest thing from what I grew up in. I'm like, all right, let's not get dramatic.
Well, no, the thing is maybe he was, well, I shouldn't say the first time, he is a white man, but you know,
and he went to Harvard.
Maybe he
with
literally,
full scholarship.
we saw there he played football. Maybe there was a full scholarship. Maybe it was academic
but
scholarship.
here's the thing we were saying.
Yeah.
It's par for the course given the comments that he's making.
Yes.
Like, you can't be like, Noah, you don't know a thing about my life, when the only thing he's put forward about his life is this decadence.
Mm-hmm. Decadence is the perfect word.
Yes, I agree. So it's like, don't act like now you're all befuddled and flustered that someone would call you privileged when you're always just like, look at my 007 scarf and my Harvard degree and my 5 houses. It's
Well,
like,
he walks around in a robe with a martini, has his own private suite, and brought like all of his. No, of course.
if you don't want people to think that you're privileged, then maybe not always be trying to flex on your material goods. Like, it's not that deep, bro.
Facts on facts. Well, over Bennett. We
But that
move on.
honestly,
Yeah.
it honestly all probably plays into Bennett's insecurity. Like,
Yeah.
I do know people like this. I can think of someone I knew in particular growing up who did have a rough time growing up, and their whole thing was that like, I'm gonna save up and I'm gonna have a Mercedes,
Well,
and I'm gonna have, you know,
Yeah,
it's
maybe
like,
he put like he grew up in a hard situation,
Financially
and put
insecure.
everything into
Yeah.
that, and so now that's, you know, it's an insecurity. But it's still, again, if that's the case, it's still the reactions on this were inappropriate.
it's
this whole
just
episode.
immature.
Yeah. Well, oh my God, another creative moment. I couldn't believe so Ivan busts out this puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
He painted this puzzle.
And by the way, we didn't know about his dad's cancer, did we?
no, we didn't talk about that.
He's just saving this shit.
I know, he is just the sweet.
And the missing puzzle piece.
So yeah, he has the puzzle, and there's that missing puzzle piece in the center. He talks about his father, and he's scared that his dad won't live to see him. You know, we see the puzzle piece say become like a husband and a father, and I'm like, dude, you just every time you're just making me
so
bawl.
sweet.
And I was just sitting there going, like, I'm just like in a mom moment. I'm like, Ivan, your dad is already so proud of you. Don't worry, we are all so proud of you.
Who do you think would be into him if Tayshia doesn't end up with him in Bachelor Nation? Can you think of anyone? I don't know. I can think of anyone who's worthy of him.
No one is worthy of him.
But for real though, I can't really think of anyone.
I'm gonna have to really deep dive because my brain immediately just goes to Pete's season because those are
know,
the
me
recent women,
too.
and I say I can't think of anyone off the cuff. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting someone, but you know, no.
Who
We're
was
gonna have
the
to go
third?
back.
There was Hannah, Maddie. Who got third place? What's her name?
Victoria? It's gonna be a no.
Okay, no. All right. Anyway,
She's currently being spotted out and about on the internet with Dave Portnoy from Barstool. They were having a furniture shopping date.
I'm sorry. Regardless of whatever rumors were spread around, she is a sleazeball. She is. I'm sorry. Like, I don't care if all the cheating rumors or whatever were fake. If for people to spread rumors like that, I'm sorry. You gotta.
Yeah.
Your reputation in some other area is going to precede you.
I think, by the way, since we threw out those things about that things weren't confirmed, I received other DMs from broads that were like, no, actually, they were confirmed because of this, and this. So
yeah,
it looks
I mean,
like
she's a sleazeball.
A sleazeball. A
with a sleazeball. A sleazeball and a sleazeball together. Perfect. Match made in
two
heaven.
sleazeballs. Actually, that would be Dave Portnoy and Victoria Fuller. That is quite a match. Oh my God. Wow. Too much for my brain to process.
Yeah, me too.
Well, Ivan then has her put the puzzle piece in. I thought he had just painted that and there was that empty part, and then he cut out the puzzle piece and had her put it in. He is so good at always having Tayshia interact. How he has her come up and sit with him. He's all about partnership lifestyle.
Now, the one I was surprised by was Blake with his turtle dove. It was so sweet.
Yes, well, because at first, I'm not going to try to don't want to be mean, but at first when all of a sudden he's like, this is a turtle dove and it's one of the few monogamous animals, I'm like, oh God, here we go. It's going to be something. Now we've heard this other tea about Blake. I'm like, he's going to talk about how like all of his exes have great things to say about him and, you know, he's a turtle dove and blah, blah, blah. But we find out that he talks about how he heard a lot of crazy things growing up and saw a lot of crazy things, and the cops were at his house often. He doesn't want that for his kids. He's going to search far and wide to have the family that he never got.
I thought it was so sweet.
It was so sweet. And you know what? And I know then we have to also talk about then Riley and Ben. But this is like such a sombering thing to say, but this was such a good moment and reminder that you don't know people's backstory.
No, everyone has a past.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my goodness, like I never would have thought.
And he is like a really like positive guy, you know,
Yeah.
Why were we getting such bad vibes from him before?
I don't know if that all the bad vibes were wrong. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, he just doesn't seem like a bad guy to me
No,
anymore.
it's just, no. I think now he's becoming more of a, you know what, I'm finding there to be a lot of, I'm going to call them Kennys this season, where at first you're just like, oh, and you get to know him, you're like, you're kind of funny.
A nice guy.
You're kind of funny. Versus the Bennett, who I loved day one, and now I have turned on.
Right. I mean, Blake seems like the kind of guy, you know, like you would be crying and he would give you a hug, you know, not in a sect. Like he might be trying to smash, but he'd also be like, no, like I'm here for you, and like, all right, come on, like let's go get you like a hot dog and an ice cream cone or something. He just is like the kind of guy that's like, I don't know. Yeah. He seems like he's probably got your back, like someone you can depend on as a friend.
I just pictured Blake taking me like to the pier and getting me a snack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, fine. I wanted to fuck, but like, let's make
I feel bad.
But let's make you feel better. Like he just seems like that kind of guy that's gonna like want to cheer you up and like be there for you.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't think any of the guys have a problem with Blake.
That's the thing too. I feel like he's like a good friend.
Yeah, everyone laughs with Blake.
Yeah, and he seems like he's like forward too. I think he's gonna have a really shining moment on Paradise. I think he's gonna get in some beef with some people. Mm-hmm. I can see him like defending some girl.
Yeah.
And like, you know, there's probably gonna be a love triangle situation.
Defending her honor.
Hannah Ann.
Defending Hannah Ann's honor, and then later taking her down to the waters and encouraging them to make sandcastles. He makes a large phallic like castle, and it's like, Blake, can we just not? It was going so well.
I have hopes for him.
Riley's also was just like, he talks about how he got a call from his mom.
Oh, that was
years ago.
A beautiful story.
Yeah, and she asked him how he keeps going, and we know, you know, he's an attorney. We've had conversations with him before. How he's super successful. And he talks to his mom about how he dreams of a small, cozy house full of love, a wife, a daughter, enjoying quality time. And she's just like, what child is obsessed with wanting that? And he's like, someone who didn't get it. And I'm like, oh my God. I know. Like this episode is taking quite a turn. It's getting so emotional between Zach, all these men. Okay. And then Ben. Now, in the moment, I was very confused, I'll just be honest, as to what was going on. I knew that it's like, obviously he was stressed about revealing something to Tayshia. He was feeling very nervous. And then you saw that he had an art piece. You saw like flowers around what looked like maybe a portrait of himself. And then he ran out and came back and showed her his nude form.
And he said, I'm giving all of this to you.
Now, Tayshia was very, like, it really overwhelmed her emotionally. I was confused because if I would have personally been in Tayshia, now again, we're not talking about actually why he did it in his story later, but.
And she didn't know, by the way.
I would have been very much like, can you put your
and all the dudes were trying so hard not to laugh.
Yeah, it's like, I think everyone was just like, what's going on right now? Like, I was like, why is Tayshia, I mean, very happy that she was touched by it, but in the moment I was very confused as to why it was received
I know, and
positively.
She's like, so brave, and she's like, breaking down.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a whole group of guys.
I think
it's like everything.
I think, and also let's not forget editing.
Yes.
Right. Ben, they put Ben last. Ben might have been second, and maybe she would have heard Riley's story before.
I don't think so, though, because like let's not forget Ben had his picture and then abandoned it.
True. Maybe they saw more of his photo before.
Yeah.
Or more of his picture before.
Yeah. I know like people are probably going to give me shit for this. I didn't like that move. And I know it tied into his story. I don't know. I just didn't. I'll get more into it, but just didn't really sit right with me. And I know people are going to disagree, but that's just the way I feel. So that's my opinion. That's a Real Housewives reference, by the way. Tamra, right?
Yeah, that is Tamra.
So
she's gone. So tragic.
That's my opinion. For one, I have to just say this. I don't like the naked thing. I said this for Claire's too.
Yeah, no,
I don't
I
like the
know.
naked thing. To me, it feels like a little bit of a I mean, I am someone who has been flashed in public by someone, like a random person. And that was actually like really scary and kind of traumatizing. So maybe I'm bringing that into it. But I don't like the revealing the genitals from a man to a woman, like outside of a consensual sexual context. I find that inappropriate.
I agree with you. I'm not into that. Now, I appreciated later in the conversation that we're having a conversation like this, especially
about body image,
especially involving like, you know, talking about eating disorders when it comes to a man.
But why couldn't he have stripped down to his underwear?
Yeah.
It could have been the same thing in his underwear.
Yeah.
I think you can do it in your underwear. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't find that appropriate.
And
it feels like a non-consensual interaction to me, even though Tayshia received it. So anyway.
Well, she is overwhelmed. And now this is a clip that we've seen on commercials to allude to her upset about something. And in fact, she was quite the opposite.
Just so impressed by everyone and touched.
So overwhelmed. Okay. So I'm very confused, okay? Because this is now maybe the third date, not second, third date that that at the start of a quote unquote competitive moment, we're told the winner gets more alone time with Tayshia, and we never see it, and we never get a winner actually we got a winner that was announced last time. But is this not happening? Why is this being ignored?
I think it might have happened last time, and we just wait, who won last time?
Well, Noah won the fighting date, and then the time before that, Bennett won the grown-ass man date.
It's weird.
We're not seeing any of it.
Zach got hot tub time last time. That seems like it would have been special one-on-one time, but he didn't win.
No.
Yeah, it's odd. And then this time she said, I don't want to pick any one person. So, I mean, there's that. But it's
still, I don't know. It's just so strange to me.
I agree.
So the nighttime portion of the date.
Yes.
So we see her interacting. You know, we're getting to know Riley more. I think Riley might be a sleeper too.
I think that he has a bit of a guard up. Like, not like he's trying to, but I feel like he's not fully comfortable. And so there's not so much of a connection between them because he's not, you can tell that he's you know, a little nervous. He has his guard up. I think he needs to relax into himself for them to develop a connection.
But I believe she gave him, at least there was one week where she like gave him either the first rose or the group date rose, like towards the top. Okay. So I wonder if all of a sudden he'll start really opening up, because she talks about how she said in this time that she's really excited about Riley.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, like maybe there's another person who might be in her tops. Obviously Brendan.
Yes,
you know, they
being
have
Brendan.
Just with his buttoned up to the top shirt looking just so cute.
Oh, yeah. Bennett then still bitching about the cocktail party.
He also keeps calling him young Noah, which at first, in my idiocy, I thought was kind of like a rap reference, like calling him young Noah. And then I'm like, what am I saying? Bennett's not going to say that. That is, now I would like to take a moment to talk about someone calling you young. Let's say you were the youngest one on your season.
And maybe that's why I have a special place in my heart for Noah.
And you know what? That's what I was thinking about when I was watching this. I'm like, okay, if someone on your season only ever called you also in front of the lead, young Becca, that's the most, that's so demeaning. That's so inappropriate.
It's so inappropriate. It's so like, it's a weird like form of elitism of being like, I'm better than you because I'm older. I hate when people do that to me. I remember someone on my season, actually, who was my friend, used to always be like, oh, well, when I was 22. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not 22. And we're not the same person.
Yes.
And that was always really frustrating to me.
Yes.
Even like as a friend, I just don't like when people do that. I don't think it's like, imagine if you did that to me.
Well, it's not appropriate. It's like, listen, at the end of the day, am I numerous years older than you? Yes, but you're also more mature than me in numerous ways.
Well, and you're it's like,
but if I were to always just be like, oh, well, when I was young, it's like, well, no, but we have two very different stories. Do I think age does play a part sometimes? For sure.
And it's going to play a part in certain areas, for sure.
Course.
Like, I'm going to show my age in certain areas,
of course. But it's like everyone has a different story. And that's going to age you in certain ways or make you younger in certain ways, whatever.
Honestly, this is, it just kind of clicked with me. I think this is actually why I like Noah, because when I was on the season, I was always making jokes about like, oh, when I have my own TV show, like Life of Becca, like, it's my personality.
Yes.
I'm very lighthearted and playful, and I don't like taking life seriously. I don't like taking myself seriously.
Also, you joke around instead of like trying and getting angry about stuff.
Constantly. But I do have a serious side to me. I do take things seriously, but I prefer to take life less seriously as a whole. Now, when you combine that with an age thing, which I think is what Bennett's trying to do with Noah, then you can interpret that as like wrong reasons, not serious about marriage, like immature, whatever. And I think the truth is that Noah's just having a good time. I really think
He's
that he was.
lighthearted,
I think he was like shaking things up when he went and was a little bitch and did the Tayshia thing. I don't think it was that deep. I don't think it shows that he's a bad person or that he's a child or image. I think that he's just having fun and enjoying the ride on this season.
And I think something, again, I am not Team Noah, but here I am defending. Something else to
It's hard when
consider.
you're pitting someone who's just being ruthlessly attacking this person.
Exactly. If he was in a confrontation with, a Brendan or a Zach, for instance, I would probably have very different opinions. But something to remember too is Noah is very, very new in this setting. Bennett has been here since day one
with Claire's season,
right? So if you're Noah, you're I think the youngest one there, and you come in, halfway through the season, and one of the guys who is one of the older guys on the season who's been there from day one has it out for you.
Yeah,
I mean, try to not be defensive.
Totally.
Also.
Which he's not crazy defensive.
No. And I think what he did with Tayshia was real shitty and like kind of foxy. But at the same time too, what I forgot is that Noah doesn't feel any loyalty to any of the men in the house because he came in the same day as Tayshia did.
It's true.
And so it's kind of like, I don't know who these fucking dudes are. Like, they weren't happy when Spencer and I came in the house, and they've been giving Spencer a lot of shit week one.
Yeah, and it looks like they're friends. Yeah, that is something to consider. I hadn't even really thought about how, like, yeah, all the dudes have loyalty. And it's always going to be that dynamic when someone new comes in. It's going to be like, we're the men of the house. Like, who are you?
It's like when Nick Viall showed up on Caitlin's season.
And it's going to be very difficult for that person to be in good standing unless they're bending over backwards trying to kiss everyone's ass. And when you come out of the gate strong, like Nick or like Noah, jumping the fence to just get involved.
Speaking of Nick, I'm so curious what Nick's opinions are on Noah.
Me too.
I bet he likes him.
Oh.
I feel like he likes Noah.
I feel like he hates him.
Okay.
Maybe we should listen.
Maybe we should listen to his podcast instead of just assuming.
Yeah, Broads, let us know which one of us is right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So then we have the conversation with Ben and Tayshia. And in this conversation, he reveals why
it's interesting. He says, I haven't ever felt this feeling. She goes, oh, do you think because you're closed off? And I was like, oh, interesting.
Picking up on something here. Which was an interesting thing to say, too, since he had gone out of his way to go and see her in her suite. And they have had a connection. So obviously Tayshia's feeling something from him that he is guarded. Then he talks to her about why he's gotten involved in fitness and nutrition because he had an eating disorder for 15 years. And he talks about how he had bulimia for 10 years and that the only person that had known was his sister.
And like you and I were talking about, it's like that's a big deal for something like that to be highlighted on the show. I don't think we've ever seen anyone talking about male eating disorders, much less eating disorders in general.
I'm trying to think, have they even talked about? I feel like maybe there was one woman who talked about it,
but
But the fact then, that they're just in general highlighting it, talking about having a conversation where he's super vulnerable as a man, talking about eating disorders. I was really surprised that they had that conversation. Also want to have a shout out for Ben, our inclusive king, because we ended up, you and I were talking about what do we think he is. Well, it turns out he is a personal trainer, and he talks about it in this because he's in fitness nutrition. But we got, or I saw photos. He's in Venice, I believe, and he is a trainer at a gym that is body inclusive and LGBTQIA inclusive, which is really awesome.
But that is really cool to see that he's inclusive and that he seems like he's really involved in a community that is important to him. And that's really cool. I just felt like it was, I don't know, it was something like in the combination with the stripping, I guess that made sense. But he just made a comment like, this may be hard to believe. And I was like, all right. So it seemed like he was sort of saying like, it may be hard to believe, but I used to be fat. And something about that just like kind of tweaked me. I feel like I may be reading into some of this stuff a little bit too deeply. But then like after he gets the rose and he made a comment, there's just little things about him where I'm like, that just kind of tweak me.
I understand. It's like,
I don't feel right about him. Like, I don't think he's like a bad person. I just think that
I really like him a lot. I think that I will say, I was so happy that they talked about eating disorders on this show. I was sad that, there were comments made, like you said, I know you can't believe this, whatever, that felt like, and of course he's, like I said, he works at this, like body inclusive space. And I do not think this was his intention at all, but with a show that has zero body inclusivity, that we're bordering on maybe fat phobic, talking about like, little girls don't like fat kids. Or when he realized, he's like, he made that comment about like, they don't like fat boys, like whatever. And that, I wish the conversation would have gone to a place where we would have had a body inclusive conversation. Right,
because then it's like, what's the end of his story? It's like he's an extremely ripped, like, I mean, it's not to discredit his journey at all, like overcoming his eating disorder or anything like that. To me, I just get the vibe that, I don't know, he comes off as a player to me.
Yeah.
People are going to think I'm crazy, but I feel like this, I don't know. I should stop because I know people are going to get upset. I know people are really going to like Ben. He's a nice enough guy. But I'm not calling him a bad guy.
But I'm
not at all.
But I'm glad for the sake of ABC that eating disorders,
for the sake of representation,
that eating disorders were discussed. I just wish that it would have, gone into a narrative more about body inclusivity, more of an inclusive
context.
Yeah. I need to look at Matt's season, by the way. I'm hoping that there's a little more body inclusivity, but I doubt it. But
I was hoping. Who the fuck is Matt? Oh yeah, that's right. Bachelor. It's the Bachelor that we have no idea who he is. Okay, so
she gives, like you said, the group date rose to Ben, and
Bennett continues to call Noah a baby.
Well, Tayshia then gives the group date rose to Ben, and then she drops a casual. By the way. I was living for this. By the way, Noah, Bennett, there's something going on between you two, and I am going to get to the bottom of it one way or another. Bye! And just leaves. It was amazing.
This is again where I just feel bad for Noah because I'm like, bro, he's getting roped into this shit that doesn't really like it's.
Well, okay, but
okay.
Last week he was the one who did tell Tayshia that the guys were.
He didn't say anything about Bennett though.
No, but she can tell because Bennett is literally in front of Tayshia, coming for him numerous times.
That's what I'm saying though. I'm like,
and obviously producers are like, just so you know, there's something going on.
I know. It just sucks that it seems like Noah is inciting drama with Bennett when Noah really hasn't done anything pointedly at Bennett besides the one privileged comment.
Yeah. Well, there's no way. I don't feel bad for him because there's no way that after this that she's going to keep Bennett.
Oh, totally.
So Tayshia says, I see what's going on. Bennett does this BS like start for an apology where he's like, I'm sorry for calling you young Noah, but it is a fact. And we also hear from our T King, Spencer, that Bennett talks down to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So it seems like numerous men in the house, feel disturbed by Bennett. Bennett also said, no one has upset Tayshia other than Noah. And him saying that to Noah's face was so scary.
It's also bizarre because he keeps calling Noah a baby and saying that he's creating drama when it's literally Bennett's creating almost all of the drama.
Yeah. If this conversation, like, this is what I was saying. I was having these weird, like, what am I missing moments?
Yes.
Like, if this was Bennett on Hannah's season speaking to Luke P, this would be a very different conversation. It would be like, yes, you are the one. Luke P is the one who is causing all the drama.
Yeah.
Luke P is the one constantly upsetting people.
Yeah.
Like, yes. But what is going on?
I don't.
Do any men in the house understand what's going on? I would love to talk to all of them right now and be
it
like,
seems like Noah's getting along with the other dudes. Like,
yeah,
just
they don't
fine.
seem to dislike him. They don't seem to dislike him. Who knows?
Okay, so now the date with Easy, right?
Yes, the date with Easy. Oh, by the way, we have another moment with Blake where he just keeps thinking about the penis statue he made. And I think he's sad that he didn't bring it home.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of, he's just like, why did I do that?
It's like, I wanted to fire it up in the kiln.
He's literally sitting there talking about, like, he's like, why did I do that? He's like, I couldn't help it. It just came out. That's just what his hands
I kind of find that
created.
hilarious.
I know.
I don't mind it.
Well, we have then the Easy date. They do the haunted house.
Actually scary. Me and Gray were actually scared.
I am obsessed with this idea of a date, and I don't know why they haven't done one like this before. I know they had that weird haunted house thing on Nick's season, and it was so like, I mean, obviously this was completely fake too, but when they had,
except that there actually is the haunted story of La Quinta with the guy.
well, I wrote down when Tayshia initially came up, and I was dying when she busted her backpack out full of ghost hunting tools and the biography of William Morgan. And I was like, I had no idea that La Quinta was haunted. I'm like, oh my God, that was that weird little child talking to me when I would spend the night there.
Stop it. It was actually, so I looked it up, and there actually is the rumors about William Morgan and all that. So it's like a legit thing. I thought they just made it up.
Well, they were putting out all the stops. I was wondering if like production had actual sounds coming in, because when they went into that one room and the baby is in the corner with the creepy letter and it like cried, I was laughing so hard and then just screaming, running out. Bats are everywhere, by the way, in the desert, so when they were running in the dark, I was just picturing a bat getting stuck in someone's hair.
I mean, I thought it was just overall a really cute ass date.
Yeah.
It was fun. There's not much. They did their whole haunted thing. It was fun.
Yeah, and
silly.
I'd vote that all of Bachelor and Bachelorette production gets shut down, and then they basically do this for Bachelor in Paradise. Ooh. Just make it a giant haunting situation.
Whole time.
Like for the 2 weeks they have to stay in a haunted house. Since it is currently COVID times and they can't be like traveling, put them in a haunted house for 2 weeks.
Horror house.
Yes, and have it like Big Brother camera set up at nighttime. So they combine both together, romance and horror.
That's pretty fun.
It would be fun, right?
That's a pretty good idea.
And if there was anything that wasn't exciting, if there was a boring moment, you could do the scary pieces.
And it would also like cause them to band together and
as a unit.
and also like as a unit.
To torture them.
I know, literally they'd get we could just ramp up the sleep deprivation to another level.
Randomly all the lights go on and production's like, we don't know why the lights won't shut off, even though obviously they're doing it and they're just laying there and like
they could film it on like the Queen Mary in Long Beach. They could do it on a boat.
Oh, perfect.
It's pretty cool.
Done and done for you guys.
Because you'd want to do it at a place that's like really, it does have a rumor.
No, it has to be a haunted place.
But then of course they can throw in some production tips and tricks.
Of course.
But then also it'll be an added creepy thing of sometimes what if like production is like, we didn't create that.
Yes.
Ooh, that's fun. I love that. I want that to be a thing.
Well, I obviously, the night portion comes, Easy's declaring his love. And
I
Tayshia's
knew.
Like, no.
I even knew when they were on the scary part. I knew he was getting sent home.
Well, the funny thing was, I think last one of the first episodes, she gave him the group date rose, and you and I immediately said he's friend. Like, there was no chemistry. I was cracking up though when they would go back to the house and Blake was just like, easy by a mile, has the most natural chemistry with her so far. It is glaring to me that something is so strong.
I know. Wasn't that just hilarious?
Blake is just like, listen, if we know one thing, guys, if we know one thing, fellas, we know that I love my penis art and that Easy is 100% going to be in her top 2. His bag is getting sent home. Just like, remind me.
Okay.
Remind me not to hire Blake for anything psychic reading wise or matchmaking. It is glaringly obvious to me that you two are in love and we're getting a divorce. So thank you so much. But I was cracking up too because it was also Riley. A bunch of the guys were like really convinced that Easy was going to be coming home. And the only one in the corner silently who was just like, was Damar. Damar was just like, no, I don't think so.
I didn't even notice
literally Blake, Riley, and a few of the other guys were just like, oh my God, her and Easy. And Damar was in the corner just like this. All right, we'll see.
I did not notice that.
We'll see.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, he knew. He knew the whole time. So yeah, I mean, obviously Tayshia picks up the rose. Unfortunately, I can't give you this rose. Which is good. She knew there was no chemistry. It's like, especially at this point too, when there's so many guys that were like, oh my God, they're majorly connecting.
How many dudes are there in total?
Now, I mean, this is just a guess. I'd say they're 12.
12. That's exactly the number I had in my head. Okay. Well, yeah, she needs to start axing. So
the next day,
sexy JoJo rolls in.
Sexy JoJo rolls in as Blake is delivering a speech for the men, telling them the tales of the week. And Noah, the moment when JoJo comes in and Noah runs to the mirror to fix his hair and JoJo goes, "Are you checking yourself out? How does your hair look?" Like, he panicked when he saw JoJo roll in and tried to make himself look beautiful.
I don't know how I completely missed that moment.
She immediately called his ass out. And then he goes, "How does it look?" Because she called him out and she's like, "Yeah, I don't know." She shaded him so hard.
I don't know how I missed this. Probably Gray and I were talking amongst ourselves.
It was fantastic. The shade that she laid on him, I'm like, yes, we are fine. We are okay with you taking Chris Harrison's position.
But no one can deliver news like Chris.
No, she doesn't have the evil in her eyes, you know?
She doesn't have the dramatic pauses.
But so far, enjoying her as a replacement.
Now,
JoJo tells them that there is going to be a cocktail party, but first, there's a concern with Bennett and Noah. And there will be a rose and someone will be getting sent home.
I felt like I was being gaslit as an audience member by Bennett this whole time. He's like, tension with Noah. I don't have any tension with Noah.
We all of a sudden go running in a very opposite direction. For the first time in all of this conversationally. All of a sudden, very different story. Very different story. Bennett starts acting like he has no idea what he's talking about.
But then also oscillating between we have no tension, don't know what you're talking about, and this is a snack, like before the main course. But I guess he was talking about Tayshia, which was, I don't like that. Again, weird.
No.
But so he's like going between like we have no tension and sort of like I'm going to destroy him.
Yes.
At the same time.
And also
he can't make up his mind.
Well, we have confirmation too from Ed, who obviously is going to be Team Bennett, that like Bennett can't stand Noah and that that Bennett will like chew him up and spit him out and that it's going to be hilarious.
Didn't you say it was like their henchmen? Like it's sort of like the Cruella DeVille duo or like Home Alone.
This is what happened. Chasen was like level 1 bad guy for them to like take down, and of course Ed as the henchman got to get Chasen out of the picture. So no, Ed did that. Noah's gonna cause a problem for them because they knew Chasen wasn't gonna go far. Noah's gonna cause a problem. So now Big Boss Bennett has to come in and just so we see the guys as the group, we're hearing that a lot of the guys are like, well, I don't know. I think that, like, you know, a lot of the guys don't seem like they have a problem with Noah, but they're also very convinced that Bennett is going to destroy Noah. Probably they think with his intellect or something
I'm like what?
that.
How do they think he's going to do this? The guy is not that.
I'm like, he's not going to trick Tayshia into liking him instead of Noah. Like, come on, guys. But we see Bennett at this point very calmly and very deliberately wrapping a box, a gift. And of course, we all assume
inside of the other box, and then we're gonna put, and then he opens it and I'll smash him with a hammer. I have to find a way to incorporate that at any point.
We of course are convinced, that this box is a gift for Tayshia and he's going to give it to her when they have a moment alone, whatever. Oh, but no.
And he brings it to Noah saying, there was never any bad blood between us. Not a drop of bad blood. Speaking of blood.
So weird. Speaking of the Purge movies, this felt like I was watching a very scary, like maybe an elite prince, like an evil prince.
He wishes.
An evil prince who has a problem with, you know, maybe one of the men in the town was falling in love with the most beautiful woman, and the prince wanted to be with the most beautiful woman. And so instead of just bringing the guy in and just, you know, throwing him in prison, the evil prince is like, please come to my castle. And he sits him down and he goes, don't know. And he does this with the back of his hand. Back. Don't be frightened.
With your glove. YouTube watchers, you are in for a treat.
Don't be frightened, poor sir. I'm not
along
here.
The chin. No, that's along the chin.
Don't be frightened.
Such a handsome young boy.
Such a handsome young face. Oh, no. I'm not here to harm you. I have a gift for you. A gift?
Now, if only he was that conniving and smart. He's not. Spoiler alert. He's not smart. I'm sorry.
He says that he's a peacemaker, which is hilarious because he's the one who's had a problem with so many guys in the house the entire time.
Now, just this plays into the prince thing. He brings the gift and he goes, perhaps I open it
for you. In gift tradition, of course, you would open it, but perhaps I could explain it to you first. Because it will be confusing for you upon opening it if you just open it yourself merely with no explanation, my dear handsome boy.
No. Don't waste your energy with your delicate fingers unwrapping it. Allow me, sir.
Edwin,
he's shaking.
Come in and open the gift for me. I will explain it to this boy. Edwin! Yes. Ed comes in just like this. You rang, King Bennett?
Sire, how may I be of service? Oh, the gift.
Oh, and he's just like, we've been talking about the gift for weeks, Master Bennett.
I think Bennett does picture himself in sort of a Game of Thrones type scenario.
Yes, he's draped in furs on a throne.
Yes.
And Noah is like the stable boy.
Yes. Or he pictures himself as like a Jon Snow. I haven't watched Game of Thrones. It's going to show in my references. Or he pictures himself as a Jon Snow type, and Noah is like that little boy prince.
Yeah, I know nothing of the show, so I
Me neither, really. But just from pop culture references, I'm trying to be hip.
We're just going to throw them out.
You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay, so anyway, the gift. Perhaps I open it for you. Some mustachioed decor for your feet.
Of course, these have been properly washed since I put them on my perfectly unsoiled royal toes. But they've been washed for you because the only reason that you should ever have a mustachio was on your feet. And a bandana because we talked of your home in Oklahoma. And my cowboyed past. Like, what the fuck was that about? his past. What? Cowboy?
I don't know. And it's part of his hard upbringing. He's acting like he was out on the prairie, wrangling cattle for his father, like as if that was Bennett's past.
And it's red. And it's red, the color of blood. Because we don't want any bad blood between us. Young Noah.
Unbelievable, truly. And then a guide for your journey, young squire. A guide to that which you do not know.
The front is a map.
Emotional intelligence.
And he tells him,
"Oh my God!" And then literally, like he's sending the knight off on the journey. Now, self-management is one of your best gifts. However, I do believe you could develop some of your other skills. And then that's when he proceeds to tell him that he needs to work on his self-awareness amongst other skills that he is so clearly lacking in.
And like a horrifying prince from a very scary movie, I noticed for the first time that Bennett's eyes are so dark.
And so black and beady.
And there is no emotion in those eyes.
I wrote the same thing. They are black and beady and very small, like the actual like.
Yes, there's no emotion.
It's really scary.
It's really scary.
And then he goes. After he says self-management is one of your best gifts, and then he talks about self-awareness or whatever, emotional intelligence. It's not something you're born with, and I'm not tacking down to you. I was like, on what planet?
And Noah, I have to give him
his face throughout this.
I mean, he's obvious. Well, first of all, I would like to note that when initially Bennett, in some creepy eager prince shit, shows him the box, goes, "Would you like to open it first?" Noah recoiled and looked pale in fear. He was frightened. He thought it was going to be maybe a, Seven, the Kevin Spacey movie where he opens the box and there's a head inside.
Yes.
He thought maybe this was going to be
perhaps a Captain Hook with a literal ticking time bomb.
Becca, can you imagine having a 2-on-1 with a guy who's been trolling you for weeks and he brings you a gift?
No.
How horrified you would be.
No, I'd be like, I'll pass. And then perhaps I open it for you. And then you're really quaking. What is he about to do to me? Is he about to flay me and chop me up into little pieces? Is he about to steal my skin? I am now young Noah, youth forever.
Bennett Noah this whole time at first recoils in fear.
And then he's literally just sitting there like this.
And then he's just looking at him, processing, not saying a word, by the way, which takes a lot of self-control because I'd be like, well, I maybe would have pissed myself out of fear at this point, so maybe I wouldn't have said anything. But by the time my pee ran cold because of Bennett's long-ass explanation, I would have come so hard. And I have to give Noah credit. He stayed very calm. And he was just like, okay, now this is where this is ridiculous. This has gone too far.
Yeah.
And
he's basically like, okay, so here's, I thought that you were going to give me a gift, and it's obvious this is just your little shtick.
Yes, you're pretending that this is some gift, and yet this is a backhanded way of, calling me young Noah again.
Which I actually thought was good because he sort of called out the behavior as it was happening, and it was very clear. Yeah. It was like, yeah.
And then Bennett,
without being petty, remember Garrett?
Yeah.
With Luke P.
Yeah,
how Garrett would always just try to laugh in his face and rile him up.
Stand up and do the fucking baloney eyes. Noah's staying.
We're not seeing any of that behavior, which I do respect.
We're seeing him be calm, and then Bennett says, and these are Bennett's words. "This, my friend, is where we begin to folly." Okay. So these are his words.
You're taking this role a little too seriously, my guy. And it's getting weird.
This is getting real. And it's like, Bennett, you're beginning to folly now because he doesn't accept your horrifying gifts? I mean, when I tell you...
Take them, I beseech you.
It is a gift, my friend.
Edwin's like, take them.
Please, Noah, take the gifts. But I promise, young Noah, there are no strings attached. It is a parting gift from the goodness of my heart. Now, when I tell you I was shivering at this point, legitimately looking into Bennett's eyes, I was shivering. So, Tayshia then shows up with another Carrie heartbreak, a stunning dress, no accessories,
I
looking
know.
unbelievable.
Well, okay, so this is what drove me nuts too. I think right before she came in, or maybe he does this while she's there. I don't remember. Bennett says the only thing that matters is his relationship with Tayshia. Yet all he's done is try to flex on the other dudes, flex on Noah during all the group dates by kissing her, by making this, and literally like looking like a child around the room after he kisses her. He's like, did you all see that? And then he's like, all I care about is my relationship with Tayshia. It's just bizarre.
Oh yeah. Well, she comes in and she is not having it immediately. She goes like, she's so frustrated.
She's like, what's this?
Like what's like, yeah. Oh no, that at the end, that was my most favorite. It was just horrifying. But she's just like, this is so petty. I'm over this. And she shuts it down right away. Well, no, I was dying listening to Bennett when Noah's trying to explain what's going on. Bennett correcting Noah, like when Noah was like, well, you said there is a 100% chance Tayshia wouldn't be with me. And Bennett goes, no. I said 0% chance she would be with you. Like correcting the way that he's verbally
that
framing
blew
things.
me away. Is Noah is saying what he said, and Bennett, what else does he say? He said Noah said something else that Bennett said, and then Bennett was like, I stand behind what I said 100%. He's just like,
yeah, just and it with perfect posture.
I'm like, why do you are so idiotic. In what world do you think that this is attractive to her?
I mean,
he's so delusional. He's so delusional. Like, for some reason, he thinks that Tayshia is as equally disgusted with Noah as he is. Like, I think that's what's going on in his brain.
Like, he thinks this is going to be an easy win because obviously Tayshia sees
There's
how
a 0%
childish.
chance.
It's like, what?
That's what I don't get. Is like, do you not understand too? That's super unattractive to tell. Like, if I was the Bachelorette, even regardless of Bennett's creepiness, for one of the guys to say about another guy that I'm interested in, there's 0% chance he's going to end up with you. I'd be like,
oh, let me let you know that there's a 0% chance that I would ever end up with Ed, for instance. Okay,
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah.
And if one of the guys said there's 0% chance you'd ever end up with her, I would be like, whoa. First of all, don't speak for me. Second, don't do that to somebody else. Come on.
It's completely unnecessary.
No.
Much less someone that you're actually interested in.
Yes.
It's
like, no, I'd like
who
him.
are you?
Sir, no thank you.
Please sit down, Lord Bennett.
Please sit down. Well, that's basically what she says. She's like, is this what goes on between you two? This is teen drama. The fact that I have to listen to this is ridiculous. She is like, absolutely not. And then she lets Bennett know, she's like, by the way, when you do this and when you say these things, you're questioning my integrity. And then of course Bennett's like, well, no. And she's like, yes.
Which ironically is exactly what Noah said originally that then Bennett got pissed off about. So he's only solidifying what Noah said to her.
Yes. And then Tayshia beelines and she goes, what's in the box? And you just see Bennett go, and then it's to be continued.
I cannot believe that they are going to do us like that.
A phenomenally dramatic ending. I cannot wait. Becca, when I tell you I will be on the edge of my seat for the next week, just thinking about what Tayshia will say when she opens the box is I'm more excited for it than
when I tell you this. I have not had an episode rope me in like this one in a long time.
Oh, fully.
Normally I like pause, take a break, get a snack. I'm like, all right, let's gear up for the second half of the episode. We watched it straight through and we were so invested.
Just fully
It was so good.
It's so good. It's so good. And next week, we are going to see what she says when she opens the box. And then...
And Bennett's just going to dig himself into an even deeper hole.
It's going to be so uncomfortable.
He's going to explain everything exactly like he did to Noah and be like, these are socks because a mustache only belongs on your feet, as you probably agree,
right.
Your Highness.
Right?
Your
Tayshia,
Highness.
you requested that he shave it. We're on the same page.
And then when he does the emotional intelligence book, she's just going to lose it.
Oh, no. She's just going to be so upset. I mean, come on. This is going to be wild. Also, then we see this sneak peek of, I think it's Noah saying, once a cheater, always a cheater. And Tayshia crying. And we're like, who the fuck is the cheater that now we're talking about? Who are we talking about? And
is it taken out? I always go into, is this taken out of context?
Yes, is it during a game? Is it Like, is he maybe talking about himself? Maybe they're going to give him a hard time and they're like, well, you snuck in. And he'll be like, once a cheater, always I mean, is he talking about himself?
Okay, good. Perceptive. Are we having a conversation about the ex again?
Are we talking about the ex? Or
is he talking about one of his exes?
It looked like he was in the room with a group of guys, though.
Okay.
It didn't look like he was with Tayshia.
Or is he going to find out about someone's in? Yeah. Is it going to be what we want it to be? Is someone else going to be a cheater?
I think so.
You do. I kind of do too.
I think it's going to be somebody.
Who do you think it is?
Well, the reaction made me think that it's somebody who might be Zach or Brendan. That we're going to find out that maybe the divorce had something to do with cheating.
Zach's would make sense too.
Yeah, if he was going through everything that he was going through. And
struggling with addiction, like that would kind of make sense.
That all of a sudden it's like, oh, we found out that Zach also cheated. So, and they're seeing now that obviously there's a connection between her and Zach that the guys are going to try to come for.
And also that would be quite the storyline considering Tayshia also has dealt with infidelity in the past.
I can't even believe it. Well, it's going to be, there's no doubt it's going to be good. They have been serving us some really good episodes. Since Tayshia came on, I mean, wow, they have been really, really good. Especially considering that they've been in La Quinta the whole time.
It's so good. It's so good. But then the guys are getting even more stir crazy. They don't even have a change of environment. And the producers are probably like, this is actually working out much better than we thought.
Yes, very true.
They're truly trapped. Well, tune in next week and chat soon, broads.
Chat soon.